world created from a tiny particle. Have you ever looked at the stars and wondered how it all began? It all started with a bang, a really big bang. It's called the Big Bang. Imagine everything packed into a speck smaller than a grain of sand, then suddenly it exploded. This explosion created the universe with all the stars, planets and galaxies we know today. After the Big Bang, the universe expanded and cooled down. As it cooled, tiny particles came together to form atoms, the building blocks of everything we see around us. These atoms then clumped together to form stars and galaxies. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way with its billions of stars, is just one of billions of galaxies in the universe. Our solar system took a very long time to form. About 4.5 billion years ago, a giant cloud of gas and dust began to collapse in on itself. This cloud spun faster and faster and got hotter and hotter until finally, our sun was born at its center. The leftover gas and dust continued to swirl around the newborn sun. Over time, these particles stuck together to form planets, including our very own Earth. It's amazing to think that our planet and everything on it is made from that ancient cloud of stardust. The birth of planet Earth, from dust to our home. In the beginning, Earth was a hot ball of molten rock. Asteroids and comets constantly bombarded its surface, making it a very dangerous place. There were no oceans, no continents, and definitely no life as we know it. It was a harsh and unforgiving environment. Over millions of years, Earth slowly began to cool down. The molten rock solidified, forming the planet's first crust. Volcanoes erupted, releasing gases from deep within the Earth. These gases formed the planet's first atmosphere. This early atmosphere was very different from the air we breathe today. It was filled with carbon dioxide, nitrogen, water vapor, and other gases, but it lacked oxygen. This early atmosphere played a crucial role in the next chapter of Earth's history, the formation of life. As Earth continued to cool, the water vapor in the atmosphere condensed. Rain fell upon the cooling surface for millions of years, eventually forming the first oceans. These oceans were the cradle of life on our planet, where the first living organisms would eventually emerge. The early atmosphere, what was it like? Imagine a world without breathable air. That's what Earth was like billions of years ago. The early atmosphere was a strange mix of gases, but oxygen, which we need to breathe, was scarce. Instead, it was filled with gases like methane, ammonia, and carbon dioxide. This early atmosphere was incredibly important for the origin of life. Scientists believe that these gases, along with lightning strikes and energy from the sun, provided the necessary ingredients and energy to kickstart life. Think of the early atmosphere as a giant laboratory. The gases were like ingredients, and the lightning and sunlight were like the heat and energy that started a chemical reaction. Over millions of years, this reaction led to the formation of the first building blocks of life. Although the early atmosphere wasn't suitable for humans, it was just right for the first life forms that would emerge. These early life forms were simple single-celled organisms, but they were remarkably adaptable and would eventually evolve into the incredible diversity of life we see on Earth today. The spark of life. Where did it all begin? How life arose from non-living matter is one of the biggest mysteries in science. Although we don't have a definitive answer, scientists have proposed several intriguing theories. One theory suggests that life originated in the depths of the oceans around hydrothermal vents. These vents release hot, mineral-rich water from Earth's interior, providing a potential energy source for early life. Another theory proposes that life may have hitched a ride to Earth from outer space on meteorites or comets. This theory, called panspermia, is still debated, but it adds an exciting extraterrestrial element to the origin of life. However it began, life had to overcome some major obstacles to survive and thrive on early Earth. Early organisms needed to find ways to protect themselves from harmful radiation, obtain energy, and replicate themselves. The emergence of life from non-living matter is a truly remarkable event. It's a testament to the power of nature and the incredible complexity that can arise from simple beginnings. Understanding how life began is crucial for understanding our place in the universe and the vast potential for life to exist elsewhere. Section 5, the building blocks of life, like Legos. But for life, imagine trying to build a house without any bricks or wood. It would be impossible. Life is similar. It needs building blocks too. These building blocks are called organic molecules, and they're made up of elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. These elements are like Lego bricks, and when they connect in specific ways, they create complex molecules that make up all living things. These molecules include proteins, which do most of the work in cells, DNA, which carries genetic information, and carbohydrates and lipids, which provide energy and structure. Scientists believe that in the environment of early Earth, these basic elements came together to form simple organic molecules. These molecules then interacted and combined in more complex ways, eventually leading to the formation of the first cells. It's kind of like a recipe for life. With the right ingredients and the right conditions, these simple building blocks can assemble themselves into the complex structures that characterize life as we know it. And from these early cells, all the incredible diversity of life on Earth eventually arose. Section 6. The Miller-Urey Experiment, Recreating the Early Earth. In the 1950s, two scientists named Stanley Miller and Harold Urey conducted a groundbreaking experiment that provided the first experimental evidence that the building blocks of life could form under the conditions of early Earth. They recreated a miniature version of early Earth in their lab with a flask representing the atmosphere, electrodes simulating lightning, and a condenser to cool the gases and create rain. They filled the flask with a mixture of gases thought to be present in the early atmosphere: methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water vapor. To their astonishment, after just 1 week, the water in the flask had turned a deep red color. Upon analysis, they discovered that it contained amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. This experiment demonstrated that the conditions on early Earth could indeed lead to the spontaneous formation of organic molecules essential for life. The Miller-Urey experiment was a pivotal moment in the study of the origin of life. It showed that the building blocks of life could arise from non-living matter under plausible conditions. Although it didn't create life itself, it provided compelling evidence that the first steps towards life could have happened spontaneously on early Earth. Section 7. Evolution. Life changing over time. Evolution is like a long, slow dance of life where plants and animals change over many generations to better survive in their environment. It's like a game with ever-changing rules, and those who adapt best get to keep playing. Imagine a group of birds with different beak shapes. The birds with beaks better suited for cracking tough seeds will find more food, live longer, and have more babies. Over time, more birds in the group will have that successful beak shape. That's natural selection, a key part of evolution. Evolution isn't always about competition. Sometimes it's about working together. For example, bees and flowers evolved to help each other. Bees get nectar from flowers, and in the process they carry pollen to other flowers, helping them reproduce. Evolution is an ongoing process, and it's still happening today. By studying evolution, we can learn about the incredible journey of life on Earth and appreciate the amazing diversity of living things that share our planet. Section 8. Evidence for evolution. Looking at fossils and DNA. How do we know evolution is real? Luckily, Earth keeps a diary of life in the form of fossils. Fossils are the preserved remains or traces of ancient life, like dinosaur bones or leaf imprints in rocks. By studying fossils, scientists can trace the changes in species over millions of years. For example, fossils show how horses evolved from small multi-toed creatures to the large single-toed animals we know today. Another piece of evidence comes from DNA, the genetic blueprint of life. By comparing the DNA of different species, scientists can determine how closely related they are. The more similar their DNA, the more recently they shared a common ancestor. Fossils and DNA are like puzzle pieces that help us understand the history of life on Earth. They provide overwhelming evidence that evolution is a fact, and they continue to amaze us with new discoveries about the interconnectedness of all living things. Section 9. We're all connected, from tiny cells to you and me. Have you ever considered how all living things are connected? From the tiniest bacteria to the largest whale, all life on Earth shares a common ancestor. It's like a giant family tree, and we're all related. Billions of years ago, the first single-celled organisms emerged. These simple cells evolved and diversified, eventually giving rise to all the plants and animals we see today, including humans. This shared ancestry is evident in our DNA. We share a surprising amount of DNA with other living things, even those that look very different from us. For example, we share about 98.8% of our DNA with chimpanzees and about 60% with a banana. Understanding our connection to all living things is important. It reminds us that we share this planet with a web of life, and that it's our responsibility to protect the incredible biodiversity around us. What will life look like in the future? What amazing adaptations will arise as life continues to evolve? That's for us to imagine and discover.